Well, today on the show, we're pleased to have the state director for the AARP of Mississippi, Kimberly Campbell. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. This is something that I'm going to find very useful since I fall in that age range now, have actually been for a while. But talk to us a little bit about what you do with as the state director of AARP.
Okay, well, first, I think it's important to know that our demographic is a little younger than what people tend to think. To become a member, we actually begin at 50. So, you know, we do advocacy work and community work that impacts the lives of the 50 plus and older. Of course, most people tend to think of us not until they're 65 and older, but we begin at 50.
Haven't got that far yet, close.
However, volunteers can be any age. We have college students that are volunteers.
Really?
We have millennials that are our volunteers, and so we also have multi-generational projects that we do.
Now, these are, I guess you could consider these caregivers?
Absolutely. You know, AARP just recently released a study to where we were finding out that more and more millennials are actually now caregivers. And so we have resources in place for them because what they're going through is a little different than a caregiver that may be 65 or maybe 70.
Now, a few years ago, Mississippi passed the Caregiver Act.
Yes.
Tell us about that and what all entails with that.
That lets the person who's going into the hospital, whether it's for a procedure, surgery, what have you, to designate someone to be able to take care of all of their medical needs. That person gets all the, you know, what the process will be when they are discharged from the hospital. That person is given all that information. Before that, you know, they would kind of discharge someone after they've been heavily medicated, and they would think that the person could keep up with all the instructions and, and you know, and their medication. And so the Caregiver Act puts another layer in place for safety to take care of that person.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a spouse.
It does not have to be a spouse.
Okay.
It can be a child, it can be a friend, it can be anyone that you trust, and you can make that person have control during the Caregiver Act.
Now, AARP has developed a card for this, a wallet card.
Yes, you can get the wallet card. You can either get it from our office. Some agencies and some hospitals actually will already have them there, but in the wallet you can put all of that, you know, pertinent information, and then that's what they can give whoever is your physician or attending person.
Now, you're actually gathering AARP of Mississippi caregiver stories. Now, what kind of stories are you looking for there?
Well, really anything. You know, we do what we call our video stories. It's a part of our, you know, our national process of telling the story, the AARP caregiving story, because, you know, some of the other things that we do is legislation. So, you know, my role in particular, I do spend a lot of time in D.C. We do a lot of federal legislation as well as on the state side. And so some of that legislation is around changing the laws and having things in place for caregivers, for them to, whether it's to have caregiver time leave or even caregiver tax credits. And so when we're working on those things, it's always easier when you're dealing with members of Congress when you can have real life stories.
Are you sure about that?
Well, you know, when you have the real stories, that goes further than just us telling them something.
Now, there is a support group here locally in Moss Point.
It is, and we love them. Let me just say that Irma Martin, which is actually one of my executive council members, that means I've put her on basically the board for AARP Mississippi, and she heads up the caregiving circle here in Moss Point, and she is absolutely wonderful. And what that circle does, it provides, you know, a respite for caregivers. It provides them resources. They have a monthly meeting, a monthly lunch where they can come in, have a break, and get more, you know, information that can help them in their caregiving needs.
Now, one of the things that seniors have to deal with a lot of is people taking advantage of them, fraud, so to speak. AARP Mississippi has a fraud watch network. Tell us about that.
We do. We have a fraud watch network, which is also connected to our scam jam. And so we do scam jams across the state. And what that usually we'll partner with a bank or with another, you know, local community partner, and we'll bring out the shred trucks. We'll also have speakers on hand, workshops on hand to give you information about the current scams, the current frauds, and also how to protect your identity.
And you offer these workshops to civic organizations, churches, different things
Absolutely.
like that.
Or there's some of our standalone events. You know, there's some things that we put together.
Is there a charge for these?
No, everything that we do is for free.
Oh, awesome.
Everything that we do is for free. So what we call our community project stuff and also our fun stuff like movies for grown-ups.
Really? Well, I've got a lot to be looking forward to there. Movies for grown-ups. The driver safety program. I know you hear people complain all the time about seniors and they can't drive anymore like that, but there are a lot of seniors out there who can drive just fine.
Right, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, the driver safety program really for both groups. It's for the group that maybe there is time for them not to be driving anymore. They may be getting some early stages of dementia and so forth. And so if that's the process, then what the driver safety program does, it actually brings in counseling and information for the caregivers in the, when we're having the talk for 16-year-olds, it's now to have the talk with mom or dad or grandma or granddad, when things have gotten more serious, when it's time to take the keys away.
Right.
But that's our smaller group. Now, our larger group of the driver safety program is really just to get them reacquainted with some of the new laws, especially if they move from one state to the next. We have a simulated modules where they can go in and we can test their eyesight, their vision, how quick they are to respond on certain things. And so it's a great refresher course.
That's awesome. The Foundation Tax Aid.
Yes, and our AARP Tax Aid, of course, that's during tax time. But again, this is free of charge. And we have I don't want to give an exact number, but we roughly have about 30 to 40 tax aid groups around the state. And so when it's tax time, you go in, if you're low to moderate income, and we'll do all your taxes for you for free.
Wow.
Yes, we'll prepare everything for you for free.
Now, and what's the age for that?
No, that's not by an age. You don't even have to. Most of our programs are not by an age. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a volunteer.
Because I have that, and a lot of people have that mindset.
Whatever we open to the public is for the public, because we feel as though we're trying to impact the 50+ and their families. That's a and basically, we're trying to help everyone in the community.
And I mean, this is something, just sitting here talking to you about all these things, the services that y'all provide, and it's amazing to me. I have my little card thing at the house to renew, which I haven't done yet, but it's like, I need to get home and send this back in.
We do a lot from our veterans work that we do, from our work that we do with the public schools. For instance, we have an annual back-to-school block party. This year,
a lot of volunteer work.
1,000 families with our block party. And so that was awesome, from over 600 uniforms, supplies. And so we're here to be a community partner and to help impact the families as best as we can.
And I'm just reading some more of this here again about the different help for the caregiving presentations, AARP Fraud Watch Network, the driver safety, Foundation Tax Aid, and then of course you always ask for volunteers.
Always ask for volunteers. We also do a lot of healthy living, healthy lifestyles with Chef Nick Wallace. He comes in and does healthy cooking. Our Southern cooking that we love, but he gives us a healthy spin on them.
We definitely need that, because we
do
love to
live
eat down
cooking
here.
demos. Sometimes we'll have groups, we'll take them through the grocery stores and teach them actually how to shop for healthy alternatives.
All right, Kimberly, thank you so much for coming here and enlightening. Wonderful. And if you want some more information, the phone number is on the bottom of your screen. If you'd like some more information on, you can just give them a call and they'll be happy to send it to you, or if you'd even like to volunteer. AARP of Mississippi, changing the lives of so many different people every day.